Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well, friends. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News. What is Chelsea News? I can hear you asking. Well, it's the daily, every single day show here on the channel where I reflect on what's been said about Chelsea, giving you my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on it. But as always, more importantly, asking for yours. Today, Kepa Arrizabalaga to Arsenal. Do we even care? Joao Felix, have we found the solution? But what of other high-profile problems? Yes, Nkunku much more sellable, but Raheem Sterling. Eventually, we're going to need to talk about Raheem Sterling. Fabrizio Romano, amidst all this news of Jamie Gittens being accelerated as our left-sided, right-footed winger, who I've gone on record and said, I think I'd be okay with us signing him. But Nico Williams has come up again. Fabrizio Romano saying he's a priority for Chelsea and Arsenal. I know he scored that high-profile, exciting goal for Spain, and everyone's gone, yeah, he's wicked. His finishing hasn't been great for Athletic Club. We'll speak about that. And I do want to finish because, again, we are the bookies' favourites to sign Hugo Ekitike, and it's been a huge talking point across social media. Alex from Tifo Football from The Athletic did an analysis saying he would suit Liverpool more than Chelsea. A transitional forward and makes everyone think of the likes of Timo Werner and Christopher Nkunku. Is he the guy? We can speculate. We can get into it. It's going to be a great video. It really is. And I'm very thankful to have you here with me. Really do appreciate the support. You can show me support by just dropping a like on the video and subscribing. We're slowly creeping up to 200,000 subscribers. That's excellent. You can be a part of that by simply dropping a sub. All right, then. Quickly, this is funny. Arsenal make Chelsea's Kepa Arrizabalaga main backup goalkeeper target. Does Kepa want to be a backup? I mean, he's done pretty well in his career. Like, he was good at Athletic Club. More on that club in a bit. Of course, went to Real Madrid, wanted him. He went to Chelsea. Did all right in his first season. Came third, won the Europa League. Eventually got benched by Eduard Mendy and eventually won his place back. He got a whiff that both Bayern Munich wanted him on loan. He was like, yes, please, I'll go there. And then he got a whiff that Real Madrid wanted him on loan. He was like, forget Bayern, I want to go to Real Madrid because he's a Spain international. And of course, then got benched even at Real Madrid. He's had a bit of a renaissance in his Bournemouth time. They've been playing well. They nearly qualified for Europe and he's like the guy there. Would he want to leave being the first choice goalkeeper for an Andoni Iraola team at Bournemouth to go and be the backup goalkeeper to Raya? I'm not so sure, maybe. I mean, maybe he fancies himself over, because he's got to be like, not that old, Kepa, 30 odd. He might think he can eventually usurp Raya and impress Mikel Arteta, another Spain international, and be like, I'm your guy. I don't know. As a Chelsea fan, do I care? Not really. With a few million quid in the pockets. Courtesy of Arsenal, they seem to just give us money constantly for players, whether it be, David Luiz, Willian, Jorginho, Havertz, loads of money for him. So we'll see what happens there. Right then, Ebola, which is a Portuguese publication, is talking about how Benfica are pushing to sign Joao Felix to play in the Club World Cup. Chelsea only want a permanent transfer. Now, that does interest me. I thought, personally, it would be trying to get him on another loan, but a loan that he can actually play well and increase his transfer value fee. I think we paid, 45 million for him, and Benfica are only willing to offer 25 million. Negotiations continue. What would we accept? Maybe 35 million euros? It's a bit of a sad, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. A bit of a sad one regarding Joao Felix. I do think he's a wicked talent, personally. I like him. I do. And I like how he really liked being at Chelsea. But clearly his career is in a peculiar place. We've seen that from Barcelona, Chelsea again, and indeed Milan. I think he just scored on the last game in the first game of his Milan loan. It was... Yeah, it really didn't work out. He got a lot of scrutiny from the Italian media. And, guys, we signed Joao Felix so we could get the deal for Conor Gallagher over the line. I'll remind you The main incentive was to sell Conor Gallagher to Atletico Madrid. And to do that, because we'd get pure profit for Conor, to do that, we needed to buy one of their players. Of course, that unlike an immediate cash injection for the Gallagher sale, you could spread the cost of the purchase. I can't remember if UEFA changed the amortization rules then, but at least 5 years. So they were like, obviously, we wanted Samu Amoradion, the striker who's gone to Porto. That fell through contractual situations. And then, of course, Jorge Mendes, the Portuguese agent, who's mates with Todd Boehly and them, man, said, might take Joao Felix. He loved it at Chelsea on a 6-month loan. And we were like, all right. And at the time, I was thinking, it's quite a good deal for this massive talent, you know, relative money. And, of course, it hasn't worked out. But if he could go back to his home, where the club that made him big in Benfica. But it does feel like a massive fall from grace. This guy that was meant to be, he's 24, he's 25? Is he 25? He's 25 years old. And he was like meant to be like one of the superstars in world football. It's very sad to like, you know, regress all the way back. But it is what it is. Yeah. All right then. So, I want to be which country there, my lover? Let's talk about other players that we're struggling to sell. I think Christopher Nkunku won't be too much of a struggle. I think he posted on his social media, him and his agent meeting. Clearly, they're trying to make moves as quickly as possible. Of course, he's not in the France squad again. He's in his prime. He needs to get a move. Bayern Munich are interested. I wonder if PSG would take him back. I don't think so, the way they're playing at the moment, but who knows? Maybe he could return to Leipzig, which is still a good move, you know. I mean, it's not like did they qualify for the Champions League? I don't know, but like his name's still big in the Bundesliga because they've seen how effective he can be out there, and of course that's relevant to Hugo Ekitike, who we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. Yeah, he's got great sellability in Nkunku. I think Chelsea as a club are looking at him going, yeah, we're not going to be in big trouble with the sale of Nkunku. You know, it's not going to leave us in big financial, a massive loss, really. Certainly not on the book value, which of course will be less than the original purchase value. We'll see what happens there. Raheem Sterling is a crazy one, bro. Chelsea's highest earner, £300,000 a week. I just have absolutely no idea. If he does care about money, there will be a Saudi move for him for sure. As in if that's his priority. But if he wants sporting, I don't say integrity or like challenge, then he's gonna have to genuinely take a 75% wage cut and join like a Fulham or something. Like, how much would have... Let's talk about this. So he gets to stay in London. He gets to stay in, say, like, you know, a nice place like Fulham. You know, mid-table Premier League, good manager, if he doesn't go to Tottenham. Would he accept that, firstly, and just be like, yeah, I'm going to carry on my Premier League football career and, you know, try and play really well, and then, you know, Tuchel... Tuchel really wanted to sign him to Chelsea. Would he call him up for England? I struggle to see that happening. But how much would Fulham pay Raheem Sterling on they'd give him like a two-year contract, 2+1, maybe 75k a week? Guessing there. He's on £300,000 a week. What are we going to do with Raheem Sterling? Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. Alrighty. Let's talk about Nico Williams very briefly then, because of course there's a lot of talk amongst Chelsea fans that we might sign 2 left-sided wingers. Sancho's gone. He's done. He's not at Chelsea. Mudrik's had his number stripped. His number 10 has been given rightly to Cole Palmer. He's deserved it. He's earned it. I know it's harsh to take away a number from a player, but when they're absent and there's clearly one guy that's just making you great, yeah, I don't think any Chelsea fan will truly have a big issue with that. So in the absence of Mudryk and Sancho, do you sign a Gittens and another winger? Or do you rely on Tyreek George? This is obviously an open question. But Fabrizio Romano, speaking to DAZN Football, he said Nico Williams is a priority for both Chelsea and Arsenal, but the player is very comfortable at Athletic Bilbao and they want to renew his contract. Renewing his contract would give him a much higher release clause. I think he's got generally what can be, described as a very affordable release clause to buy him for the transfer, but that's not the problem with Nico Williams. He's on silly sausage wages. He's on like 300k a week or whatever. And this is a guy who's not done great in La Liga. He's basically seen as a really high-profile player, probably largely because of what he's done with Spain, of course, winning the European Championships. He is young. He's 22, recently turned 22, or he's about to turn 23. He's still very young. Yeah, he's early 20s. But in La Liga, he scored 5 goals. In La Liga, 5 goals. Yeah. It's not great, is it? In over 2,000 minutes, he scored 5 goals. It's poor. He's one man of the match in the whole league campaign. Whereas you look at Jamie Gittens, and I think did he score 10 goals? Like, I think he scored 12. So he scored 4 Champions League goals and 8 league goals. So 12 goals for his club and 3 assists in the league. But he also is, his finishing is a lot more. It's been a lot better than Nico Williams. If you look at the XG, he's outperformed his XG, which is like a holy grail for like Chelsea, because we all, unless your name's Cole Palmer or maybe Enzo Fernandez, being completely fair, Chelsea players underperform their XG. So to get a guy like Gittens, who profile suits Maresca really well, and when he shoots, he scores. Sounds very good. Let's be real. I'm not saying I don't like Nico Williams. He's amazing. He's got star boy quality. And if he comes to Chelsea, he is, our starting left-sided winger. Same at Arsenal. He walks into the lineup purely because he's just clearly got this star quality. But what I'm referencing those numbers for is it, because Jamie Gittens comes to Chelsea. Let's give him because Cole Palmer's original salary was 70k a week and he went up to 120. So let's just be a little go in the middle. Let's say we give Jamie Gittens £100,000 a week. Is with his good stats, finishing stats, yes, Bundesliga, more on that in a moment. Is it worth paying 3 times the amount of Gittens to a Nico Williams, 300,000, to pay him the Raheem Sterling wage that we want to not exist at Chelsea anymore? Is it worth paying him 3 times as much when he's scoring less goals and having poor finishing stats? Many of you will say, yes, he's worth paying more, but maybe not paying 3 times as much. Arsenal pay more flat wages than Chelsea. They have done for a while. Even if they're trying to be more careful, they just do. Chelsea might say, look, we're in the Champions League now. We've just won a trophy. If you're out of the Champions League, your wages drop. But we're back now, baby. We ain't dropping out, sort of thing. So we can give you 180k a week plus bonuses to take you to 250k a week. But you're playing at, Chelsea rather than Athletic Club. Can it happen? I don't know. It's all speculation, really, to a degree there. I'd love it. Obviously, it's an exciting dopamine-releasing signing, but I understand also the why we're looking at Gittens and why he suits what Maresca wants, Let's move on. Yes, so the story that's not going away. Chelsea currently favourites at 4-7 to sign Hugo Ekitike. 5-2 is next for Liverpool, and 8-1 that he stays at Frankfurt, which seems a little bit. I think there's a good chance he does stay at Frankfurt. Obviously they want a lot of money for him, 100 million euros. What's that? 84 million quid. People talk about how maybe that could be a 60 million quid transfer fee with 24 in add-ons, and in that 60 million quid transfer fee, maybe only 30 million up front. This is all theoretical, speculative. So we'll look at his stats one more time, and this will be the last time until we sign him, okay? But it is a huge talking point because we spoke about the aforementioned Nkunku, who plays well in the Bundesliga and will have, takers in the Bundesliga. But Nkunku is slightly different because he's not a centre forward. And even Timo Werner, who we would reference, is slightly different because he wasn't a conventional centre forward. He played on as a left winger loads. He played as a second striker, like Nkunku a lot. And even Havertz. Havertz, is definitely not a striker. You know, he was a very, very niche player, Kai Havertz. That, you know, to this day in at Arsenal, they're struggling to figure out what he is. You know, Hugo Ekitike, as you can see here, is not, you know, a winger / left winger or second striker. He's a centre forward. He's a centre forward. That's what he is. He's a centre forward. Nothing else. Now, that guy from Athletic, the young guy, Alex, the analyst guy, he did a video saying, look, I think because of the spaces that Liverpool create in transition, he'd suit Liverpool more. Chelsea have a really high field tilt, which means we squeeze the opposition and play right in the defensive third, and that means we're inherently playing against low blocks more, which makes a lot of sense while we signed the likes of a Liam Delap, who's got presence in the box, who can, like, you know, not be bullied or whatever. It makes sense while we looked at Victor Osimhen for such a long time, who increasingly now looks like he's going to go to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. But Hugo Ekitike, this guy was saying, this content creator was saying essentially that he doesn't think he's strong enough, that he wants more space to run into, and although he's tall and can head the ball, that his heading finishing isn't great. I mean, he is 22. I think he's just turned 22 as well. Oh no, he's about to turn 23. Either or, he's young. He's very young. He's very, very young as a centre forward. And he's good. Like Thierry Henry, of course, who knows about French forwards and French strikers, says his ceiling can be insanely high. Unlike the likes of Gittens and other people, he has underperformed his XG, but he's got himself into an XG scenario this season here. If you look at him on his X value page, over 20 expected goals. He scored 15 and got 8 assists, 23 goal involvements from 33. It's an elite return in the Bundesliga for a young player like him. But getting into 20 XG, you know, if he becomes an elite finisher, then you score over 20 league goals because you outperform, you know. He does like to play slightly in the left pocket, as you can see on his heat map, which I've said before, sort of suits Chelsea because we have players like Palmer that wants to play on with the likes of like a Noni Madueke or a Neto, and it often creates that space. I know you get an Enzo Fernandez crashing that space late, but it's still a good opportunity to have a striker that occupies that space. Again, Bundesliga disclaimer, but amazing at assisting, amazing at shooting, really good at dribbling, can get better at aerials, and the passes and recoveries I probably put down more to a style of play at Eintracht Frankfurt. My friends, meine Freunde. So let's have a look at his stats. Woohoo! Yeah, look, I mean, non-penalty XG, he's in the 98th percentile, which is incredibly strong for a young striker. As you can see here on his polar chart, his expected offensive value added is top of the chain, so he'll help your attack loads. And as you can see here, it's the top 2% of all strikers in Europe. It is very, very good. Finally, just to end this segment, let's look at his strengths on his FB ref scouting report. And that's shot creating actions. He's really, really good at that. Non-penalty expected goals and expected, what's AG? Assisted goals, basically helping the attack, scoring or assisting. Progressive carries, dribbler, over 3 point a game, which is really good actually for a striker, as well as take-ons attempted and successful take-ons. So he really likes dribbling into the box, and actually, like, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be running and breaking. Like key passes as well. It's interesting, right? Because everyone's got an opinion on football. It's a game of opinions. I personally, from a relatively uneducated opinion point here, you know, I've seen some highlights, yada, yada, yada. I do think we're not looking at an Nkunku Werner situation here. I think we're looking at a guy much more equipped. You know, we've obviously played Nkunku as a striker. We played Werner as a striker. We bought Werner to play as a striker. It didn't work. We bought Nkunku to play as a number 10. Palmer came along, so he got moved up into a striker. I think Ekitike looks like he could be really good. Now, this obviously puts the question in, can Chelsea have all these strikers? And I say yes. I said it yes yesterday. I'm going to say yes again. It means, of course, Mark Yu will go on loan. I think he'd do really well in the Championship, and as a teenager who's got his experience in the Conference League and won a medal with us, go and be the guy starting centre forward at a good level like the Championship. Get fluent at English, yada yada yada. I think Chelsea, the really good Chelsea teams of old, have had 3 strikers. There's been like countless examples, especially when we're playing in the Champions League. So why not again? Different profiles as well. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Jackson can play on the left wing. Jackson can play on the left wing." I agree. He was a left winger for the vast majority of his career. And Chelsea fans want to see him out there because they know he can combine well and, run on the break and stuff. I've got nothing against it. What I'm saying is I don't think Maresca will do it. He's not the kind of winger Maresca wants. Maresca wants these one-to-one explorers, these Noni Maduekes, these Jamie Gittenses, that can just basically take... Even Sancho, that's the kind of profile of players he wants. Does it mean we won't see him on the pitch with another striker? Maybe. You might see times when Nico Jackson's on the left and Liam Delap's up top, beating people up, and then the game becomes a bit of a basketball match and there's space to run in behind, and then Ekitike comes on to run on as well. Do you know what I mean? So I think it is possible. It is plausible. Jackson, nice to see him, was one of the first people to like the "here we go" for Delap to Chelsea, and then Chelsea's announcement showing that he's down, he's up for the challenge and a player to push him on and help him develop. Would he be so happy about 2, Ekitike and Delap? Who knows? Maybe there's a world where we sell Jackson for £60 million this summer. So much can happen, but one thing's for sure, I will be following it here on the channel. So please do support the content if you want to. Just like and subscribe. Remember, now you've made it to the end, it means you probably like my content. Thank you for that. So why not check out Football Yannick, where there's also daily content over there on the second channel. It's all non-Chelsea stuff, but if you're interested in my thoughts on different clubs and different stories, go check out Football Yannick, search it on YouTube, or click the link in the top of the description, baby. Keep it locked. Peace.